Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Everything Matters podcast. I'm your host, Bradford Speaks, also the founder and managing director of belegendary.coach, a performance coaching and leadership development company. My guest today on the Everything Matters podcast is a longtime friend of mine. His name is John. I like to call him Jay Douglas. Jay is actually the owner of FADEOLOGIST. He's been cutting hair all across the city of Atlanta for more than 20 years. I first met Jay back in the late 1990s where he used to actually trim my head before I decided to grow my hair into locks. Jay is a huge contributor to his community. He's always giving back. And one of the things that I've really always admired about Jay, he always had a few young black males from the communities where his shops were located coming in and working in the shop, sweeping up hair, cleaning bathrooms, and giving them the opportunity to know what it's like to earn from a hard day's work. Jay's recently opened up his second shop called FADEOLOGIST 2, and he's excited to share that is located in Atlanta's brand new Black Wall Street. So please join me in welcoming John H.F. Douglas III, I like to call him Jay, to the Everything Matters podcast. Let's get it popping. Yo, Jay, what's going on, my man? This is Everything Matters podcast, bro. You here, man? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, man. Look here, brother. I really appreciate the invite, bro. It's awesome to see what you're doing out there, man. So I'm excited, man. Very excited.
I appreciate it. Yes, man. Thank you so much. I'm trying to run you down, but like trying to get Obama, bro. I know you're busy out there in the streets, man.
If I don't stay busy, I won't stay successful, you know?
Hey, I dig it, man. I dig it 100%, man. I'm so excited about the conversation that we're going to have today, man, and really talk about all the things that you're up to, man. I know you just finished vacation, bro. So how was the vacation with the family, man?
Oh, man, that's part of the reason why I'm wearing this hat, man. Trying to hide a little sunburn.
I heard that, man. I heard that.
Everyone already knows I don't have any hair, but to have my scalp burn is not too appealing, man. So, I want to make the show look good.
Hey,
and, you're not just the opposite, man. You got dreads, I'm bald. I had the pleasure of being your barber for many years, and during that time, remember, I had hair, bro.
You did, bro. You did. Hey, you had to wave. You waved out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Always lined up, edged up, looking good, man. So
yes, sir.
I certainly remember that time, man.
That Bantu Hawaiian silky did a brother well, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Well, I'm glad you got a chance to get away and have some time with the family, man. That's really important. I know you got a lot going on, and having that opportunity to decompress and just detach from it all, man, is very much needed by all of us, right?
Absolutely, bro. Nothing like it, man.
Nothing like it. So, Jay, man, truth be told, brother, I've known you since before you was married, right?
That's right. That's true.
Mean, real talk. Not a lot of people can say that now. I knew you when you was out there in them ATF streets, baby, because you know what? I was out there with you, right? So,
you see I'm swinging my shoulders, right?
Exactly. Always, bro. Already.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. How's the family doing? Just tell me about that. When I met you years ago, man, when you were, keeping my hair tidy, and working as my barber, like I said, you were single, and I remember when you met your wife, and you're like, "Hey, Brad, man, I think this the one, dog." And I was like, "Tell you sure, bro?" He's like, "Yeah."
Right.
And
that's right.
So how long has it been? How long y'all been married, man? And tell me about that whole situation. I know you have 2 kids, and tell me about that, man. How's the marriage?
Well, I tell you, man, I've known my wife for quite some time. We've always had a brother-sister relationship, and that catapulted into, more. And, we got married 2003. And that is 19, as a matter of fact, we just celebrated 19 years this past April 5th, man. And I appreciate it, brother.
Man. Kudos, brother.
And I have 2 beautiful kids, Blake and Bella. My wife and I, we lost our first child. He was actually named after me. He would have been the 4th, or he was the 4th.
Right.
But all of that got us here to where we are now. And, sometimes those ATL streets can lead you down the right road. So
No doubt
I like
about
to,
it, brother.
yes, sir. I like to think that I didn't run the traffic light and I just waited my turn and stayed in my lane, man. And here we are 19 years later, brother.
That's a beautiful thing, man. And I just
Yes,
want to
sir.
acknowledge you, man. Acknowledge you. You know, you've always been the kind of guy that, like, when you set your mind to do something, man, you make your mind up, bro. You go for it, and you're so consistent, man. It's one of the things I've always appreciated about you, brother. So I'm happy and thrilled for you that, because, hey, bro, you look around, right? I mean, not just in
Mhm.
our community, but in the community across the world, man, and
That's true.
specifically in the United States. Marriages don't last long, man. You're looking at a guy that's been married a few times here, right? And I'm
Yes, sir.
on
Yes,
my
sir.
third one, and it's finally, I finally figured it out. I think I'm in for the long haul now. But
Awesome,
dude,
man. So proud
it's
of you, bro.
not. I appreciate it, man.
Yes,
It's not
sir.
easy, brother. So,
That's right.
talk about that, man. Tell us what the secret is. Like, what's worked for you guys in your marriage, man? What's been
Man, you
what's
know
been
what? I mean, there is no. I'm a firm believer that there is no perfect book for marriage. There is no perfect book for raising your children.
all right?
We have to just work with the chemistry that we have. Um, it's just like balancing your time. You have to balance your time, balance your finances. To me, great relationships come from great communication.
Mm,
And
dig it.
communication is marriage in its totality. And what I mean by that, uh, if you spend money, that's a sense of communicating. When she checks the bank account and sees that something is missing,
Mm,
if you didn't communicate that, then that's the lack of communication.
facts.
The lack of communication is physical, is sexual, is financial. Is again, communication is everything. Um, you know, God requires us to love, and love encompasses everything that I just named. So,
Man,
without communication, you can't have good love. Um,
man,
love should be clear, communication should be clear, and they just, they work together, and you can't have one without the other.
man. I love
So,
that, man. So well said. And it's one of the things and one of the reasons I wanted to start the Everything Matters podcast is because
mhm,
everything matters, right? Including communication.
exactly.
And, we just deemed the tagline for the show. The tagline for the show is conversations that propel performance, right?
Mm, I
And
love it.
everywhere in
Love
life,
it.
we're performing. In your
That's right.
marriage, you're performing. In your job, you're performing. As a
That's
parent,
right.
you're performing.
That's
So
right.
how well you perform really comes down to the conversations that are being had, right? The communication that's being had.
I,
So,
I I agree with you totally, man. An old man once told me a while back, in every conversation, in every encounter with someone, you're being interviewed.
mm,
You don't have to say anything. As I cut hair every day, as people are watching me, they're interviewing me, and
that's right.
it may not be for a haircut. It could be something beyond that, and so that's why we have to always make sure that we're always on our p's and q's. That
Love
we
that,
are
man.
exemplifying greatness just by doing our best. Um, you don't have to be the champion, but as long as you have a champion attitude,
All
that's
right.
all that matters. That's what makes us champions.
Absolutely.
So,
I
yes,
mean, yeah, I
sir.
mean, having a champion mindset is what allows you to be able to at least compete, right? If you're in the game and you're able to compete,
That's
you
right.
have an opportunity to win.
That's right.
It's huge,
And,
man. Huge.
and sometimes, you have to play the bench for a while until the coach calls you in. But you
There it
better be
is.
ready, right? We,
You
we,
better be
we
ready.
both played sports before.
That's
I
right. That's right.
think you, I
When it's
think you went a
all
little bit further than I did.
right. And I remember you probably heard this before too. They always tell you, right? When preparation meets opportunity, that's when the opportunity is there to win, right? You
That's
got to be
right.
ready when the opportunity comes. If you're ready and prepared when the opportunity comes, you've done the work behind the scenes.
That's
I
right.
tell my kids this all the time. Kids today, bro, for whatever reason, and I'm sure you experiences of your kids too, they look at and they want to be great right away, out the gate,
Right.
right? I've
That's right.
talked to my kids on several occasions, hey, why don't you play basketball? I don't know how to play basketball. Well, of course you don't know how to play. That's the whole
Right.
point, to go play so you can learn.
That's
It's
right.
like,
That's right.
I don't know how to do that. I get that. You don't. I know. But that's why you want to join the team, so you can learn how to do that.
That's
You
right.
know. So
Most of
so you're
us.
right, man.
That's right, man. Most of us don't start um, off great. I
That's
mean, I'm a
right.
prime example of that. I mean, I've messed up many a heads, but people kept giving me opportunities,
All right.
and over the years, I just honed my craft and decided to monetize it. And,
That's awesome, man.
and here we are today. But
Love
also
it, brother.
too, just to kind of piggyback off what you said,
Mm-hmm.
um, I've been told that it's always best to be prepared for an opportunity than for an opportunity to come and what you not be prepared.
You're right. Facts. Bro.
So simply
Great,
true.
man.
Yeah.
100%. So we're going right down the line. Right down the line where I want to go next is really talking about what you've been up to since I've known you.
Okay.
With your business FADEOLOGIST, and
Yes, sir.
I've seen you go from one, really successful location to now getting ready to open up your third one.
Yes.
Right. And that is something that a lot of barbers would love to do and never achieve that level of success, man. So I'm really proud of you.
Thank you
for even being in that space, man. So tell me, how did you get involved in barbering? Like, how did that even start? I mean, I think you told me the story years ago, but how did you get involved in this space, and how did it become a career for you?
Well, to be honest, it simply started off as, Jay, do you have some clippers? Can you cut my hair?
Right.
I said, yes, I have some clippers, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. I will try.
Right.
And actually, the first person's hair that I attempted to cut is this brother named LeJacques Parks from Athens, Georgia. And I had an old pair of clippers that my dad used to use to cut my hair.
Okay.
And literally, I had to hold the wires together. I didn't have any tape or anything. So literally, I just kind of twisted them together the best I could. And we got about halfway through the haircut. And either way, it was good enough for him to wear a hat because the sides were gone. And so, and actually, we went to a party that night, man. And then my second client, and all of us are still good friends today, is my boy Tyrone Stevens. He was the first head that I actually completed, man. And that's what really, really got me started saying, man, this looks pretty good. And I just never stopped. And that was in 86. No, that was in 85 because I was 14 when I started. And I was in my mother's basement, my parents' basement.
Wow.
And from that, I started cutting more heads. I actually left Athens and moved to Marietta, Georgia. And from there, I went to Georgia Southern. And that's when I really got serious about cutting hair. I was actually DJing as well.
Okay.
And long story short, I kept practicing, got good. Unfortunately, my dad got diagnosed with colon cancer. And blessedly, he's still living. But because of his downfall, that became my uplift. So I took a negative and made a positive out of it because barbering really saved my life in college. A lot of people didn't know that, I paid for my last 3 years by way of cutting hair. So barbering really, kept me in a good place, kept me from having to come home. It kept me in school. And that's actually when that's how I got licensed as a barber from a barbershop called Stanley's Barbershop at that time, later on known as the Master's Den. And they laid the foundation. They laid the foundation really for how I run my business now. I've always, run a clean barbershop, very clean atmosphere. No cussing, no drinking, no smoking. It's a time and place for all of that. But I kind of wanted like a location where everybody could fit in and feel comfortable.
Right.
And
including kids.
Including kids, single mothers.
Right.
That was always important to me. It wasn't important to me until I started cutting hair because, let's face it, we've all been to all types of barbershop and enjoyed the atmosphere. But that's just how I choose to run, my barbershop, my atmospheres, is just to keep it clean. But to get back on barbering, that's really how everything got started. I went on to get licensed in 1995. Several months after that, I launched my first location, which was off Winners Chapel Road. That's actually where
you and I met. Yep.
And I had opened that barbershop, and then in 98, I actually shut that barbershop down and moved next door to a larger location. And I kept that until 2008. And I purchased this barbershop out here, ended up selling that to my manager, and he ran that for a few years. And we were blessed to open up another location during the pandemic. And we're actually on our third location now, which will be opening hopefully in the next couple of months at the new Black Wall Street Market in Stonecrest, Georgia.
Yeah.
So that
I've been
gives you,
seeing your posts on social media.
yeah, man. Social media is, imagine if we would have had social media back in our day, it could have gone great.
We might be millionaires, man. Be millionaires already, man.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So kids don't understand the tools that they have. And I know that you can attest to that from your own children.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's really great, man. Really great story. And thanks for sharing that with us, brother.
Absolutely.
It's really an inspiration to see what's possible, when you have a dream and when you really put your mind to something, man. And you had a lot of support around you. You had images, at the master's den, the gentleman who really kind of birthed that vision for you of how you wanted to create and run your shop.
That's right.
And, when you brought that up, we were talking earlier about one of the things that I always noticed about you and the shops and how you ran it, because what you just said is exactly how I experienced being in FADEOLOGIST. And one of the things that was always clean, it was always somebody cleaning, wiping something, it was always sanitized, everything was always neat. And that's just the kind of guy you are, right? And one of the things that stood out to me back then was that you always had some little young kid doing something in the shop. Either they were cleaning the bathrooms, they were sweeping the floors, wiping the glass on the doors. You had them doing something. And that just really inspired me, because you really got what it meant to show the value of hard work to young people, man.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Man, I acknowledge you for that. And so
Thank you.
I know that continues
Absolutely
with you, right? You continue to be a contribution.
Absolutely.
And so talk to us about, in what ways today are you contributing to our youth and really making a difference? I know you have a nonprofit. Maybe that's something you want to talk about. So tell us what you're doing right now to continue to be a contribution to society, to your community.
Okay. Well, for those that don't know, as you saw when you came to the barbershop, I've always had children, especially young men. I've had a few young ladies that range from the age of 12 to 15 that either wanted to become cosmetologists or barbers. And I felt it was important to keep them, in our environment. And to be honest, that is something that I actually picked up. That's something that I took with me from Stanley's Barbershop, BKA, the Master's Den, because they always had young children there working, whether it was a child in the community or their nephew, or they always had someone working there, definitely every Saturday. And so I took that concept and I brought that to FADEOLOGIST. And just to have children come to the barbershop, to be around positive role models, basically, the majority of the people that I bring aboard are young kids that come from broken families, be it a single dad or a single mom. So I really, really give them kudos for just, I'm elated that they would entrust my environment for their children. It's more than just babysitting. I mean, these kids really make a difference in how, our barbershops are run. If you keep kids around, sometimes it keeps certain conversations away. So these kids play a major element in how I run the business. And they make great money. The clients tip them. They always leave the kids with something, whether it's money or whether it's just something to give those children, something to think about. And, when those kids go home, you ought to just see the smiles on their faces. They love it. And through doing that, I started something, a nonprofit organization called LIFE GROOMING TOOls. And that's where we basically groom them with the tools of life, be it financial, physical, great health, great wealth, just advising them on the way. And so we took that, created a nonprofit organization. And it's not just for children now, but that's just where it started. It started with the kids that came or that still come through the barbershop. And now, we want to extend our services to veterans. I happen to be a veteran myself. I served 8 years in the Navy Reserve.
Awesome.
And,
Awesome.
we want to pass that on to uh, veterans. We want to pass that on to continue to pass that on to people that are homeless as well. Sometimes you just
Right.
got to get a jump start. And it doesn't matter where you
Absolutely.
start, but you just got to get on your feet. And you'd be surprised at how much confidence these kids develop over the years of just, not taking reprimand, but just learning to take commands. You
Yeah.
know, being there to welcome these clients, being there to come sweep the clients off and shake their hand. I always make
Right.
sure that they give out firm handshakes and let them know how much they appreciate our clients, and always
Right.
make great eye contact. Those three things
Absolutely.
just take you so far in life. I mean, we all make a judgment as soon as we shake someone's hand, whether it's and that handshake has to be. It's an art to handshaking. It can't be too
It is.
powerful. It definitely can't
Right.
be too weak. And you can tell a wrist handshake. You can tell a full arm handshake. So all of
Right.
these things matter. We take time. I keep a couple of ties in the back of the barbershop. We teach these kids how to tie ties, teach them how to tie bow ties, things that sometimes their mother can't teach them. And
Right.
sometimes their father can't teach them.
Right.
So again, we are a community. We reach out. And one of the biggest things that we've done, we teamed up with the boys club here in Lawrenceville.
Okay.
And we've had a couple of back to school drives, man, that were very
Nice.
successful. And there you really see your community when you go to the boys club. So,
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
all of that works together for us.
I love it, man. I
Thank you,
love it,
man.
man. So thank you. Thank you for that, bro. I mean, that's, again, this is what this show is about, man. It's about really highlighting. It's about highlighting people like yourself, man, who are out there doing great work in the community. We may not see you on ABC or CBS, right?
Right.
But I know you have had some TV time, though. I know you've had your
Had a
share of
little
TV
bit.
time at Fadeologist, man. But there are a lot of people that are doing great stuff, man, that don't
Right.
get a chance to be in front of the camera and talk about what they're doing.
Well, thank
And
you,
and I
man.
want to bring light to those people. I want to really highlight those people, man, because dude, the small thing that you're doing will really, really make a difference, man. And you see these kids, they go out and
Yeah.
they walk up right, man, and they're confident, their chest sticking out. They're proud and happy of what they've been able to do. And
Yes.
even if it's something as simple as learning how to give a good handshake or learning how to tie a tie, it's something to be proud about, man. So,
Right.
dude, I'm really proud of you, man, for what you do.
Oh man, I
Really awesome.
appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. I appreciate you holding me down when things were
Yes,
tight,
sir.
man. I really do,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
And you're
Yes,
an
sir.
inspiration to me as well, brother. Believe that.
I appreciate it, brother. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jay, man, really good stuff, brother. So one of the things that I always like to ask guests that come on the Everything Matters podcast, because the podcast is about performance, right? And performing wherever you're performing in life.
Right.
So being a self-made entrepreneur the way you are, working on opening up the third Fadeologist location,
That's right.
um, there's got to be some challenges in balancing everything, right? I know for myself, for the things I've got going on with the podcast and trying to get the editing completed and trying to get the music right and trying to get other people to help support me and be involved in the project however I need to. Plus, I have a
Right.
regular job that I do, for my full-time gig at Hootsuite, and managing kids. I'm the cook in my house, so I'm always cooking. I cook just about every night. So, and then trying to take care of myself, right? And then
That's
I
right.
know sometimes when I get too engrossed in a project, my wife kind of
Mhm.
looks around the corner in my office. She's like, hello, I'd like some time too. So,
Well,
so how do you manage all that, man?
you know what, man? As we said earlier, man, that there is no perfect recipe. There is no
Yeah.
perfect book. We have to just do what we have to do, and it's hard because either your family's going to suffer, or in our minds, our business is going to suffer. But yeah, man, there really is no perfect recipe.
Yeah.
You mentioned something a couple of times. You mentioned being self-made, a self-made man, self-made business.
Hmm.
You and I both know that's just a cliche.
Totally.
There's no business, there's no such thing as a self-made man, because we all need somebody on the inside. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we also need supporters on the outside. And my supporters on the inside are my family, my wife, my kids, my parents. And you want to make some time for family outside of family as well.
Right.
So it's tough, man, because somebody always ends up hurt, and
Yeah.
that's just that's just it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hurtful sometimes because it's been times where my kids were asleep when I got home, and that doesn't make me feel good,
Yeah.
you know.
Get that.
So as I um, start my day, it's important that I walk my daughter to the bus stop every morning, because it's not guaranteed that I'm gonna see her that night,
That's right.
um, especially in my industry. I'm actually getting ready to release my second documentary, and
Mm.
I'm gonna be touching some of that. The name of that documentary is called Finding FADEOLOGIST,
Okay.
and
Yeah, I've seen the promotion stuff on social media. Everything on social media. I'm always following you guys, man. What you up to? So yeah, I
hey
see that coming.
man, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, man, and and I know, man, it's so easy to get off balance, man. But I try to take as much time as I can. Um, it's amazing how you can kind of catch up on the weekends.
Hmm.
But I do know that I'm re-strategizing my whole barbering life. That I'm going to be announcing that within the next week or so. I
Okay.
don't really want to talk about it on the show right now.
Got that.
I don't want to surprise too many people that way. But
I
I
feel you.
really want to pour more into my kids, man, and pour more to my wife, and in
Got it.
turn have them pour more into me. But to answer your question, there is no perfect formula. I've gotten off beat. I've gotten off track because I'm trying to accomplish that dream. You
Right.
know, they don't understand. I'm doing this not just for me. I'm not doing this
Right.
for fame. I'm not doing this for fame. It is
Right.
for a little fortune. But
Right.
I want my kids to be in a good position. Should something happen to me,
Yes.
I want to be in a position where I can set up something for my grandkids and even further their grandkids. So
Right.
it's all about generational wealth. That's been a secret that's been kept from us for quite some time.
Right.
And I'm still learning how to balance my time. It never stops. When I woke up
Agreed.
this morning, I knew that I was so excited, man, to be a part of this podcast, and that it wasn't going to interfere with my family time because
Right.
they're at school. So um, it's hard to come up with words to express how you want to be there for your family,
Right.
and sometimes you're not, but you better make up for it with something. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. For sure. And that's
it's
easy to
tough,
do
man.
sometimes with young kids. It's easier to make up that something, right?
That's right.
You know,
That's
I
right.
find
That's
with
right.
as kids get older, it's not as easy as bringing a gift or bringing a candy or bringing a little something. They get older and they
Right.
want something a little bit more from you. So,
That's right.
there's a bigger responsibility that comes with that. And I so get, man, that your commitment to your family, man. And I remember those days, dude, when I was working weekends and selling new homes. I'd get home at, if I write 2-3 contracts in a day, dude, I'm getting home at, 8,
Mm,
9 o'clock. And my wife's like,
mm,
you know, everybody's ate dinner, everything's clean and put away, and the kids are in bed.
mm. That's
And
a
I
lonely
got a
feeling,
nice,
right?
it's a lonely feeling, brother.
Yeah.
And I've got a nice big commission check sitting in the bank account, but I miss valuable time with my family, man.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can't get that back.
You
You can't
can't,
get it
man.
back.
And that's
So you're right.
exactly why.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
is no perfect recipe. You're absolutely correct. And and
Yeah.
and what I've learned is that you mentioned earlier about the value of communication. And I think that is the key. Hey, honey, I'm going to be 30 minutes late tonight. Does that work for you? And just checking in, right?
That's right.
Checking in and making sure that she's good with it. Hey, can I bring anything home? What can I do to support you? You
That's right.
know, that I'm going to be late, right? And how
That's
can I
right.
fill in a gap somewhere? Can I make a phone call for you? Like any little thing you can do to help out,
That's right.
and just letting them know, hey, Dad's going to be late, and Dad's going to be late tonight, or
That's right.
whatever,
The same things we dish out, we
That's
have to
right.
be able to take. So it's not about just happy wife, happy life. It's about happy spouse, happy house. And, it
Right.
goes both ways, you
That's
know.
right. That's right.
So, but, I have to hand it off to my family, give them kudos, man. They've been so flexible with me. My wife has been so flexible with me, just allowing me the
Yeah.
space, the time, the creative time
Yes.
to live out my dream, because cutting hair is easy. For me, it's more so the admin side that's more complicated.
Right.
Um, because believe it or not, and she'll tell you, when I come home from work, I come in, I kiss everybody, I go straight to my office, just trying to just do the last little bit, just the last
Yeah.
little bit
That's the
of tweaks,
details. Yeah.
exactly.
Details,
But
man.
then, I try to hurry up and come back before everybody goes to sleep. But it's
Right.
just part of it. And
Yeah.
they've gotten into the routine, but I'm about to surprise them, in a major way real soon.
I love it.
So I'm looking forward
Hey, bro,
to
you got to, when you make that announcement, you got to come back to the podcast and tell us what
it.
happened, bro.
Absolutely, man.
I want to hear about it, man. That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
All right, Jay, FADEOLOGIST's been around since 1995, bro. I don't want to talk about how old I was back then, but I was a young whippersnapper, bro. We both were, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
so you've been
Indeed.
cutting hair for a long time, man. And
Right.
I know, as I followed the history and followed everything that you've been creating with your business, I've seen many of the awards that you've received as an entity and as an enterprise. So talk to us about some of the awards that you've gotten over the years, man, and maybe something that you're really most proud of, if you could pick one.
If I could pick one award or recognition that I could say would be my favorite, would be when Fadeologist was recognized on a national level for the Steve Harvey Neighborhood Awards, formerly known
Nice.
as the Hoodie Awards.
Okay. Yeah.
And I participated in that from 2012 until 2016 was the last year.
Okay.
And, you know, to hear my name announced on the radio on a national platform, we actually won 2013 and the last year, which was 2016.
Okay.
And I can't express to you how much that has done for my business. It was such an icebreaker. If I introduce myself, hey, I'm John, I own Fadeologist, just introducing the business to people. Hey,
Right.
we heard about you guys on the radio, and
Yeah.
heard about you guys on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. So that was just awesome, man. I was very humbled, and the Hoodie Awards was basically celebrities giving back, pouring back into their community or the national communities of small businesses,
Right.
recognizing the best barbershop, recognizing the best nail salon, hair salon,
Mm.
Things that are important to our community, the best
Right.
soul food spot, the best
Right.
school teacher, the
Yeah.
best car wash, the best lawn care service. I mean,
Right.
it was so many different categories, man. And but just to be recognized was something else. From there, um, we became more popular, became somewhat of a household name, and we just started growing from there.
Mm.
We've actually won Best of Gwinnett since 2015. That was awesome as well. We received
Yeah.
the what's called the Army Strong Award,
Okay.
um, which is the Army recognized us, which I had no idea
Wow.
they even knew about us.
Wow.
But
That's
someone
awesome.
came in dressed in fatigue and saluted us, man, and it felt great. But the biggest rewards and the most important awards are the accolades that we get from the community, as well as my family. When they can
Yeah.
say, when they can come home and uh, ask about the business, and they are excited. When they're not ashamed to wear a Fadeologist T-shirt,
Right.
it makes their day when kids come up to them and say, I go to that barbershop just because they wear the T-shirt.
Right.
So it just gives them something to kind of be proud of, man. And
That's awesome.
but those are just those special moments. But I tell you what, the best compliment that I've ever seen or ever received was from a gentleman named Mr. Decatur. He's a former Marine.
Okay.
And he would frequent the barbershop pretty often, and he said, John, and he whispered in my ear, he said, man, you made me proud to be black. And for me, that was just, obviously I'm black, I'm Afro-American, and it's not about race, but
right.
As much as he's seen war, he's seen racism.
Yeah.
And when he whispered in my ear and said, John, you made me proud to be black.
Wow.
That really just kind of made me tear up, man, because he came from the heart. So
that's awesome, man.
To me, that was probably the best compliment I've ever received. And that's something that I take with me every day. Not only do I want to make him proud, but I want to make everyone proud to be a black American, man.
I love it, man. One of the things I like to talk about on the Everything podcast is failure, because this is about performance, right? Conversations that actually propel performance, and everybody deals with that. So you talked a lot about the people that have really supported you and really lifted you up and held you up to achieve the success. You put God first, your family, your parents made a big impact on you. Even some of the people that you serve, your clients, have made a big impact on you. Even some of the small kids that you mentor all have an impact on some way around what you've created, right? But inside of all that, right, having been in business for as long as you have, brother, there's been some failure. There's been some ups and downs, and I already know that before even asking you. I know it's not been easy. So tell us about one, and I know there's been many, time when you was down and you was like, felt like, man, I don't know if I can do this. I don't want to push forward, and just you felt like you were defeated, right? How did you deal with that, and how did you lift yourself up, change your mindset to continue to push forward and continue to perform in the way that you do?
Well, for me, failure comes in two ways. Failure of yourself and failure in letting other people down. And I want to talk about, the failure of letting other people down. Okay. I've missed a lot of events just trying to stay in business, not more or less opening a business. And, during those early years, during the 90s, when, all of my partners were graduating from college, and here I am, trying to start a business. People always looked at barbers as just haircutters. But for me, it's always been more than that. And with, I've always worked. Really, I work 7 days a week. I cut hair 5 to 6 days a week. And my hours range anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day. But, the biggest failure is, in my opinion, would be, letting my family down. Supposed to get off at 6, end up getting off at 8, and I've missed something that was important to them. And that's happened before. But I do try to minimize that. Those are the most painful. But from a business failure, the biggest failure that, in regards to Fadeologists, was when I was attempting to open up a barbershop at Atlanta Hartsfield.
Okay.
The Atlanta airport.
Yeah.
Hartsfield Jackson.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
It was. And I invested a lot of money into my package, and I made it to the final round, but they ended up going with someone else, and, kudos to them. Major congrats. I know my package was tight, but they saw fit to choose someone else. And for me, that was a heavy defeat.
Wow.
Because I had already saw myself in LAX, saw myself at
JFK
airport, and everywhere, man.
Right.
So, but God didn't see fit for for that to happen for me. And people would say, well, it's not God's will, but it's easier to say than for me to accept that.
Right.
Though I'm a God-fearing man, I'm like, come on, God. I've been doing this for 15, 20
Right,
years.
right. I deserve this, man. Come on.
Exactly.
Right.
No
doubt.
So I might have shed a few tears over that one, man, because I just put in so much hard work, just trying to develop that perfect package.
Mm-hmm.
And again, yes, it was for me, but it was for the city, man.
Yeah,
and
bro.
I really, really wanted that. I really wanted to be that barbershop, to represent Atlanta,
Right.
in that way. So as you see, for me, it's more than just cutting hair. It's more than just recognition. But I wanted to be that solid piece. I wanted to be that place that people came to. And they still do. But, just at that airport, it was just, I felt it would be more convenient.
Right.
But that just wasn't for me, man.
Yeah.
And so it took me a couple months to get over that.
Yeah.
So,
I dig it.
It's not like I failed in that business, but I felt like I failed in trying to start that business.
Right.
But
right.
man, I've done so much, man. When times got hard, a lot of people don't know. I threw newspapers. I would wake up 3:00 in the morning every day. The paper had to be run. The paper had to arrive at people's houses every day back then. You don't see
a newspaper. What's a newspaper? What is that?
Exactly. Kids don't know, man. But I mean, literally, I'm waking up, man, and this was, wow. It was in the 2000s, and I'm sitting up, I'm waking up every morning, I'm slinging papers with pride, out of my sunroof,
Right.
whatever it,
Right.
whatever it took for me to be successful, that's what I was willing to do. I've cleaned office buildings. Back in the 90s, you didn't know that back when I met you, but like when I used to close up the barbershop, me and another one of my barbers, man, we would go clean office buildings.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Just to stay successful, man, just to make sure that we stayed on point. So I've never been, too proud to do anything. Right. I started an investment company called Cozy Homes Investments.
Okay.
And I had about 4 or 5 homes, man, and ended up losing all those homes back in 2007, 2008 when the economy shifted.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So that was too. That was tough. I thought that one was going to affect home, because I lost all the houses except for the one that we were living in at the time.
That you lived in, right? No doubt.
Exactly.
No doubt.
And I was doing this for the family, not for myself. But they ended up being, being the ones to be directly affected. And but I overcame that just by constant perseverance, man. Just my drive to not fail. Failure for me is not an option. You can fail in one way and succeed in another, and they will cancel each other out. I've had a music studio. Music is really it's up there with cutting hair. I love music, man. Yeah. And having me and my partner had a studio, and to have to close that was hurtful as well. But yet and still, I've overcome all those obstacles because I'm still here. Right. And sometimes, we fail because we take things out of priority. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And and I know success comes with the proper prioritizing. We can't succeed in our family unless we properly prioritize them. They may play the second or the background for a period of time, but we got to keep them, number one, man. God, family, friends, business.
There it is. I like it, man. One of the things I keep hearing, and thank you for sharing that, man. So many great stories. One of the things I was hearing as you were talking was, number one, that you may fail at something, right? Mm-hmm. We all fail at something, but that doesn't mean that you're a failure.
That's
and I
correct.
think that's a huge distinction for people to make is that, you're going to fail. I mean, everybody fails at some things, right?
Right.
But in the world of performance, that doesn't mean you're a failure. So being able to say, you know what? Okay, at least I tried. It didn't work out, but that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I mean, for you to be one of the finalists in that, getting that shop at a Hartsfield Jackson Airport was huge. I mean, just to be in that conversation was big, right?
Yeah.
And so you
Yes.
take that as a win.
Right.
And, hey, you learn some things. Okay, if this opportunity comes up
Absolutely.
again, here's what I need to make sure that was missing is there next time, right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
in
That's right.
addition to that, what I also hear is that, there's one thing to say, I just keep pushing, I just keep pushing. You know, that's easier said than done, right? Because you
Mhm.
get defeated.
Right.
But what you said was that I just stayed in action. I just
Right.
stayed in
Yeah.
action, right? And you just kept taking the next step. Whatever that next step is, if it's throwing papers out, if it's cleaning office buildings, I'm continuing to take that next step. And each step I take, each action that I take is actually leading me towards my ultimate goal of where you are today. So,
That's right. That's right.
that's really powerful, man, that you shared that. And I hope people that are listening hear that and can see that for themselves, that just keep stepping forward, man. Just keep taking action. Keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And just, I know football was your number one sport, right? If I'm not
absolutely.
mistaken.
Yep.
So again, as I mentioned earlier, I know that you took your football career further than I took mine. But if you made a mistake on that field, what's the first thing the coach said after he reprimanded you? Move on to the next play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know
Yeah.
that, I know that. And so just the ability to be able to just mentally block all that negativity out and just move on to the next play. And it's
Dude,
just like that in life, man.
it
When
is.
when you come across an obstacle, if you can't go over it, sometimes you have to just go through it and just focus on that next play, man. We cannot stay depressed, man, about something that you have no control over.
I
And
agree.
that's, one of the major things that sports taught me, man, is just move on to the next play.
Absolutely. And, that's I remember, I'll never forget. And one of the things that they say makes a successful quarterback is a short memory. Uh,
Mm,
I never forget, we were playing against McNeese State, and
mm-hmm.
man, it was the fourth quarter. We were on a winning drive. Had we scored that drive, we would have won the game. We had driven about 70 yards down the field, and
Mm,
we were on, I think, about the 20-yard line. We were in the red zone.
right, right, right.
Dude, I rolled out to the left, thought I saw my guy open. Safety runs across, picks that ball off. He takes it back 99 yards. We lose the game.
Mm,
That
mm,
was
mm.
so painful for
It
me.
still is. Yeah.
It still is. I think
Mhm.
about the day and it breaks my heart. I
Yeah.
let my team
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah. That's
At the
right.
same time, dude, when you throw a pick, who's kicking the ball off? And they do a pick six. Who's kicking the ball off? They
Mm-hmm.
are. So
That's right.
I'm about to get the ball right back.
That's right.
So it's like you can't stay there. You gotta disappear it. And I think a
That's right.
part of that is knowing that, hey, I failed at that one attempt. Doesn't
You,
mean I'm a failure. Doesn't mean I can't
you
come back and win still,
you gave
right?
me chill bumps, man. That's what I'm rubbing myself.
Great story, man. All right, Jay, man. It's been such a great conversation, brother. I mean, I've
I've
learned so many
enjoyed
things about you just in this
it.
time, that I didn't know. So thank you for being so open with that, man. And
Absolutely.
so one of the final questions that I like to ask everyone that comes onto the podcast is, you know, you've been doing this for a long time, right? You talked about generational wealth, all the things that you're doing with your nonprofit, what you're doing to be a model citizen, to be a role model for young people, right? And it's an inspiration to people, people everywhere you go, right? It is a big deal to you. And that's obviously very clear.
That's right.
So, Jay, when the lights go down, right? And it's all said and done, John H.F. Douglas III, what do you want the world to say about you? What's your epitaph going to read? What do you want them to say?
That I never lived only for myself and that I live for others. Um, that's it. I
Wow.
tell my guys every day that I sleep 4 hours so that you can sleep 8.
Mm,
So it's not about me. It's not about. Uh, I just like to be unself. I try to be unselfish, man, in everything that I do. Um, I'm an open book. I have a wealth of knowledge in my industry that
mhm.
I'm willing to share with anyone that is willing to listen. But again, I want to be known as someone who cared about others,
Yeah.
who and I try to illustrate that through my works and through my life.
Wow. I love it, man. Well said. Well said. And
Appreciate
Jay, it's obvious, man, from everything that you shared with us here on the show, from everything you shared, it's obvious that, to me, it's obvious too, and it may not be obvious to everybody, but that you are selfless and that you are really out to be a difference and be a contribution to other people, man.
I
You know,
appreciate it.
we talked about it, before, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. Sometimes it could look like to the people around you that you're all about yourself. Because
Right.
I know with me, with with the difference I'm trying to make and what I want people to say about me
Mhm.
when this all said and done for me, right? When the lights go down, the smoke clears, you know, I don't want people to think that this was all about Brad.
Right. Right.
It's never
Exactly.
been about me. It really has never been about me. I don't care about being the guy and being famous and all that stuff. I chased music for a while. You remember I was chasing a music career when I
Absolutely.
met you, right? So there was a time in my life where I really wanted to have the fame. I wanted to play professional football and I wanted to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
At this point in my life, it's about really having other people shine and
Right.
being a contribution through contributing to other people. So
Absolutely. Well
I
said,
see we
brother.
both in this. Yeah, I see we both
Well
in the
said.
same boat when it comes to that, man. So, bro, okay. Last thing, most important. Well, I shouldn't say
Hmm.
most important because everything we talked about has been important.
Yes.
How do people find you, man? I know you're on social media, so how do people find you? Where do they go to follow Fadeologists, to learn where the locations are if they want to come and become a patron at one of your locations, man? So how
Okay.
do they get in touch with you?
Okay. The easiest way is to go to our website, www.fadeologist, FADEOLOGIST.com. And anywhere on social media, we're known as Fadeologists, whether it's
Love it.
Twitter, um, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever social media that's out there, we're on there.
I
And
love it.
yeah, man, it's definitely been a pleasure, man, to be a part of this Everything Matters podcast. This is actually the first podcast that I've appeared on, man. So I'm glad it could have been, or it was with you, man. And
Man.
you're an outstanding brother. And I really, really appreciate you, man. And I really appreciate you supporting me during those earlier years and supporting me now through your podcast, man. It means a lot, bro. And I love you, man.
All right, brother. The same. Ditto, man. I love you too, and it's a
Appreciate it.
pleasure to be able to support you, man. Because we need more people like you in the world, brother, and people that are really, really giving of themselves and putting themselves second, third, and fourth, bro, so that other people can shine. So
Yes,
I
sir.
acknowledge you for all the work you're doing, brother, and
Thank you, man.
look forward to having you back on the show at some point in the future. And
Look
keep
forward
up the
to it.
good work, man. Keep up the
Thank you,
good
brother.
work, bro.
I
Yes,
will. You
sir.
do the same, man. You do the
I will,
same.
man. I
I'm gonna
will.
try to be the mirror image of you, brother.
And I'll do the same, brother. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is Doris Brown's baby boy. We out.